What's up, everybody? This is Angel Ghost Girl here, and I am Angelica, your host. So right now we're gonna get into it. Right now we are reading a paranormal magazine. It's called Paranormal: Ghosts, Aliens, and the Unexplained. Haunted Grounds: The Mysteries of Bigfoot and Witches of the Past and Present. And this is what it looks like. And right now we're about to read something about the Queen Mary. So I'm going to show you that first. The Haunting of the Queen Mary. This luxury liner, once constricted into service, has lived many lives and seen many deaths. The Royal Mail ship RMS Queen Mary was a luxurious British ocean liner operated by the famed Cunard White Star Line from 1936 until 1967. Now permanently centered in Long Beach, California, the ship, which is on the United States National Register of Historic Places, serves as a hotel, restaurant, and museum for paranormal investigators. However, the several hundred deaths linked to the ship and the substantial number of alleged ghost sightings make the Queen Mary a popular and important hunting ground. The stories have grown as popular that you can now take a ghost tour of the ship if you visit it, and the hotel throws a Halloween party called Dark Harbor every year. Flush with the economic prosperity of the 1920s and 1930, the Cunard Steamship Company Ltd., one of the Great Britain's most vulnerable shipping and transportation companies, began construction on hull number 534 in Clydebank, Scotland. It's seen here, completed at that yard. Cunard hoped the massive ship would be able to successfully compete with the recently launched German ships SS Bernman and Ypres. I don't know if I said that right. Those fast and luxurious ships threaten Britain's position as a leader in transatlantic shipping. Within a year, however, the dire financial conditions caused the Great Depression, which began in 1929, halting construction, and Cunard turned to the British government for a loan to complete the ship's construction. Britain's government approved the loan, but on the condition that Cunard merged with its chief rival, the Allied White Star Line. Cunard's management agreed, and shortly after the merge, constructed assumed on the ship, whose name was kept strictly secret until its launch. When it was launched on September 26, 1934, the ship, which has nearly cost over $1 million in 2020 dollars, bore the name Queen Mary after the sitting Queen Consort Mary of Teck. The name represents something of a compromise, as Cunard usually selected names ending in IA for its ships such as Louisiana, and the White Star Line usually christened its ships with the names ending in IC, such as Titanic. This name therefore broke the traditions of both somewhat newly merging companies. The Queen Mary completed her first voyage as a transatlantic trip from Southampton, England to New York City in June 1936. In August of that year, the Queen Mary briefly captured the coveted blue ribbon and unofficial accolade for the liner with the highest speed crossing the Atlantic. Though the ship's real attraction was luxury, it featured 2 indoor swimming pools, air-conditioned public rooms, and the first Jewish prayer room on an ocean liner. A clear dig at Nazi Germany's pervasive anti-Semitism. The outbreak of World War II in September 1939 briefly idled the Queen Mary and her sister ship, the Queen Elizabeth. The following March, the Mary sailed to Australia, where it was converted into a troops ship. The Queen Mary, Grey Paint, earned her the nickname Grey Ghost, and during the war she earned the record of carrying the most passengers over transported in a single vessel. The Queen Mary also had the honor of ferrying British Prime Minister Winston Churchill across the Atlantic several times for meeting with Allied officials. Tragedy, however, would mar the Queen Mary's wartime service. On October 2nd, 1942, it struck another ship, a light cruiser, escorting the Queen Mary. The Queen Mary was sailing in a zigzag pattern to make it less vulnerable to attack. While the other ships sailed in a straight line, the Queen Mary struck the other ship at full speed, slicing the smaller ship in half. The accident cost the lives of 300 men, and later, a Maryland court decision placed most of the blame on the other commander and crew. After the war, the Queen Mary resumed its career as a luxury ocean liner, now more important than ever after a post-war refit. The Queen Mary returned to its status as an icon of transatlantic sailing. However, its days were numbered. In 1958, British Overseas Airway Corporation completed the first transatlantic jet flight. Passengers could now travel between London and New York in a matter of hours rather than days. And the number of passengers on So we're doing this in a second part because something's wrong with the camera. Jet flight. Passengers could now travel between London and New York in a matter of hours rather than days, and the number of passengers on transatlantic ships declined. In 1967, after having completed her 1000th Atlantic crossing, the Queen Mary retired from active service and sailed for Long Beach, California in May 1971. The heavily modified ship opened to tourists, and 7 months later, Jacques Museum of the Sea, a 100,000 square foot attraction, opened to the public. Though it was plagued by problems and closed within a decade, in fact, the ship's various owners have struggled to turn a profit in the decades since its arrival in Long Beach. Throughout this time, the Queen Mary has earned a reputation for being one of the most haunted places in the United States, owing to the hundred of deaths associated with the ship. In addition to the other crewsmen, more than 4 dozen other people are reported to have died on the ship. 2 crewmen, John Mackenzie in 1942 and John Petter in 1966, were crushed to death by the ship's eerily named Door 13, located in the ship's massive shaft alley. There are also several legendary deaths. A woman named Donna was allegedly murdered in cabin B 474, and someone reportedly named Jackie supposedly drowned in one of the ship's pools, but there is little contemporary evidence for these deaths. However, these gruesome legends and multiple reports of ghost sightings by staff and visitors alike led Time magazine to dub the Queen Mary one of the world's 10th most haunted places. So if you like videos like this, then like and subscribe, and until next time, everybody, sweet nightmares or sweet dreams.